So welcome to Conversations with Tenzin. I'm doing this podcast because I meet a lot of interesting people in campus and also in my life. So I want to capture and remember the people and their stories. Today I have my good friend Habib from Yemen,
Yes.
and he's one of the Humphrey Fellow here at MIT, and he has a lot of interesting stories to share. So I'm going to start with, can you tell me about your story? Who is Habib?
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much for having me here. It's my pleasure to be in your podcast. So I am Habib Alrahman Alnedari. I am from Yemen. Yemen is a country in the Middle East, in the Arabic Peninsula, south of Saudi Arabia, west of Oman, and east of the Red Sea, and north of the Aden Gulf Sea. So it's a very poor country, and a country that has been passing very political tension for the last 30 years, maybe, or more than that, I think. Yeah, so I grew up in a family of engineers. Actually, my father is a civil engineer who studied his baccalaureate degree in Egypt, Alexandria. My uncle also studied in Cairo, Egypt. My cousin in Egypt, and also another cousin in Russia, and another one in Bulgaria. So my aunt also studied in Russia. So that made my ambitious very big, just to be one part of this family.
Okay.
And we had a plan to have 50 years of engineering.
Wow.
So that means continuing this profession since my father started in 1980, and then me, I will continue that, and then my son and my other cousins will continue. So the family will reach this goal, inshallah, near. Because of that, I started my life with subordinating my father. He used to teach me most of the classes after school. And then I remember that many mathematics classes, he used to be strict in answers. So I had to focus so much in my classes in the school and after school. So I have to go back to to do homework and make my father to support me in organizing my homeworks and my assignments in the school. And I also remember that after I finished my high school, my father told me, if you have a good grade in high school, I will give you $100 as a gift. And I told him proudly that $100 doesn't cost for one class of English at the American Institute. He said, wow, do you really like to go to study English at the American Institute? I said, yes. He said, why do we have to wait for your results? So you can go tomorrow. And the next day I went to the American Institute to start English, and I started studying there. It was very fantastic year for me. And that was the first point which affected my life in the future. So later on, I went to engineering university at Sana'a, Yemen, the capital of Yemen.
So Sana'a is the capital of Yemen.
Sana'a is the capital of Yemen. I was accepted because I had a good grade in high school. And then I accepted to go the architecture engineering because my father was a civil engineer. And in Yemen, you can't make a construction building without two parts, architect and civil engineer. So our plan was to complement each other. So I will do the architecture plans, and my father will do the civil engineering plans. And that was also my other brother. He went also to civil engineering, and we were just as a group. And then during my classes at engineering, I met a friend who told me that French language is very good. Why don't you join me? And then I joined for French classes.
From English to French.
From English to French. Yeah, I went to French in the French embassy in Sana'a, the cultural affairs section, and I spent almost 2 years having classes in French. But I mean, classes were twice a week. So because it took that long time, 2 years. After I graduated, I just I was in Sana'a in my city, and I just didn't know what to do. And then I received a call from my uncle. another city in Thailand. He told me there is a World Bank project
Mm-hmm.
which requires engineers who can speak French and who can speak English. French is additional thing if you can.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the first time I left my family from Sana'a, from where my family lived.
Mm-hmm.
I went to another city to work with the World Bank project. It was a huge project for 5 years in water and sanitation rehabilitation for the city. And that was, it provided me a lot of experience how to work for international NGOs.
Mm-hmm.
Later on, I moved back to Sana'a, so because I had my wedding there, I stayed with my family in Sana'a, and I worked with a great project with the Kuwaiti Fund in urban planning. We made an underpass way inside the capital in high density area. That was a great project, $20 million, and it has to be committed in 1 year. And that was because it was located inside the city,
Mm-hmm.
in the road of the airport. So 1 year, no modification of this plan. So I worked with a Turkish company there, with the Arabic Fund, which is called the Arabic Economical and Sustainable Fund. And I finished that successfully, and I got a very good certificate from my managers. Later on, I went. Yes, I like moving. Yeah, I moved to oil field.
Okay.
I went to oil field to work for as construction engineer with a French company because of the French language I have. And then I stayed there for 3 years from one company to another company. So that was an oil field. We worked in construction of Navy camp.
Mm-hmm.
Full Navy camp, which consists of residential houses, streets, gardens, parks, restaurants, accommodation, and also well-being parts. It was a great project. I was the deputy project manager. But unfortunately, the war started in Yemen 2015,
Mm-hmm.
and then we have to leave. We had to leave that side. So I went back to the city where I lived, Sana'a, with my family. I lost my job because I used to work with a private company, though they lost everything because of the war, and I stayed home there until I decided to move to Thai city, my city, just to spend Eid and stay with family. But I was lucky to have an NGO called Save the Children.
Yes.
And I remember that the first day I met.
Save the Children saved you.
Yeah, Save the Children saved me, the first one. They told me, okay, what do you do here? You have good qualification. I said I moved from Sana'a to here because Sana'a was bombed by airstrikes and my children could not stay there. I wanted to stay here in Thais. They told me we have a contract for 2 months. Will you accept that? I said, yes, I will accept. No problem. And then the 2 months became 8 years.
Wow.
8 years, yeah. After 8 years, I applied for the Humphrey Fellowship, and I've been lucky. I have the honor to be accepted here. So I stopped working with the children. I came here to study at MIT for urban planning and for the climate change,
Yes.
because the country has been facing a lot of floods like the last 5 years, and many people don't know about that was such kind of effect or indicator of climate change in the country.
Yes.
So I wanted to learn more about climate change so I can reflect that on my country when I came back to help people make mitigation and adaptation for the climate change. That was a brief about my academic and professional history.
Yes, I know, because I know that you are very determined, because all the classes and seminars and courses that you have taken you had a one goal in mind about climate change and mitigation. So this is something that I really appreciate about you.
Yeah.
But before I knew that you were determined about climate change, I remember when I first, when we came for seminars, you were very critical about public servants, civil servants.
Yes.
So I said, Habib, it's not like that. I'm a civil servant. We are not like that. But you're very critical about civil servants. So can you tell me why?
Yeah, actually, my father worked for public service for 20 years, starting from 1980 until 2000. I graduated from school 2006. My father after that, he worked for private sector and told me, uh, do not start where I started, start where I finished. Working in private sector, I mean, working in government sector, public sector in Yemen, in my country, is providing sickness for a person or providing some kind of corruption. You have to choose one of them, either if to be corrupted or to be sick. You have a lot of problems in your health. You will consume all of your health and your sanitation. I mean, and that was a really good advice. Because of that, I started immediately working with private sector, because in my country the public sector is not, I mean, they're lazy, they need a lot of money, and they're just careless because they feel that no one can replace them.
But is there not a few individuals who are different?
Yes, there are some. Yeah, I have that background that with this qualification I have, I have a good qualification in engineering, and I have good English language. I used to have that, and I used to have good other construction skills that I learned from my father and my family. And I thought, if I go to the working with public sector, I will lose all of that, but because they don't need such things. They just need someone who can consume time and who be clever how to observe money from others. And that was a problem for me, because I can't afford that. So because of that, I went directly to work with private sector with different. So I'm sorry if I don't mean.
No,
I don't mean.
I hope we can change your view by being, different.
Yes.
A different version of what you're saying. And another, like, Habib is a good friend of mine, and we talk almost all the time when we are here. And the one thing he always talks about is mocha.
Oh, yes.
So please share the story of mocha.
Yeah,
He's so proud of this story.
Actually, that was because of the first shock I received here in the States.
Yeah.
Whenever the first day I came to Yemen, I was in Illinois University for English course, and I met 15 students, fellows or classmates, and I introduced myself. My name is Habib. I came from Yemen. Yemen is in the Middle East, blah, 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 blah. No one knew about Yemen. They said, we don't know Yemen. Where is this country? Explain more. Then I have to explain in Google Map and explain about history. They didn't know anything. I told them, we are the country of coffee.
Oh.
They started to laugh. And they say, you're telling lie from the first day. Okay. What is that? What is the country of coffee? Is Brazil or Colombia. It's not Yemen. I was so sad of that, because not because of my situation, because no one knows about the history of coffee and mocha coffee. Then I started to explain to everybody. I told them, come to my house. I will give you some kind of Yemeni coffee, and you will taste it, and you will notice that this is an original coffee. I invited them to my room at night, the same day, and I made them some coffee that I brought from Yemen. They found it amazing. And they started to say, wow, that's true. So they started to search in Google, what about coffee? Then I told them that mocha coffee, which is famous now, mocha as a chocolate taste, is referred to a city in Yemen. So that city was the first city where we started to produce coffee and export to all over the world 500 years ago.
Wow.
And then people started to understand about the coffee because of that, and started to search in Google and find amazing information about the coffee. And also I could give what I could, some kind of taste of coffee, sample of coffee that I brought from my country.
You are doing an amazing job advocating about mocha.
Thank you.
I learned a lot.
Thank you.
So yeah, moving on to the next. Now we are completing this fellowship. So can you talk about what is your next step in life? It's
a little bit hard to be specific about what you need, because we have learned a lot here in MIT and this Humphrey Fellowship. We attended many conferences. We have a lot of chances. And then, yes, we don't know what the future is going to be. I mean, what does it look like? But I'm, as I said at the beginning, I'm focusing on climate change. So I will be applying for some climate change positions in my country or in the region, in the Middle East region, so I can reflect what I have studied about climate change and mitigation of these threats for the countries around. If you have noticed that last week there were many floods in the Arabic Peninsula,
Especially
Dubai,
in I saw.
Oman. That was in one day. Rainfalls in one day were equal to a rainfall for a year.
Yes.
And that was because of climate change. So we have to start advocacy for climate change and making policies and start to make decarbonization in many construction activities. So I will try to work in some position in this area, focusing on this area, so to help my country and the other country around Yemen.
We'll wish you all the very best, because
Inshallah.
I know your intentions are pure and your concerns for this planet and climate change is genuine. I feel that.
Inshallah.
So I hope you find success. And the last question that I have is, I ask this to everyone. What keeps you motivated in life? Tell me a bit about your motivation.
Yeah, motivation, I think that whenever you do something good, whenever you spend time and effort, frankly and seriously in something, you must find the result good also. If you, I mean, it's in our culture that if you just plant a good seeds, you will have a good plant. So what motivates me that I consider myself a hardworking and a person who likes to help others. So yeah, I mean, I have helped a lot of people during my life. When I was with Save the Children, I helped outside my NGO. I helped in my community. I really supported many staff and people to get engaged in humanitarian field, because I believe that this will be reflected on their help for the community and all. So what motivates me that helping others will open chances for me to continue supporting others and continue supporting the community I live in. And I think they need me actually support, not me alone. I will not be selfish to say I will do this and this. So I will collect efforts with others. So all together we can make a change. So these efforts, I think, will provide a good result in mitigation of climate change.
So community is your motivation.
Yes, community. Yeah, I live in community. I can't live alone. I don't like to live alone. I would like to live in community to help them and to benefit from them, to get motivated.
Thank you, Habib. Thank you. You are a true inspiration, at least to me. And I learn from you every day.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Likewise, I learn from many fellows. And it's truly an inspiration. Yeah. So thank you for giving me your time today.
Yeah, thank you. And actually, we learn from each other. And I hope this relation will continue for the future. So each one needs the other, I think. To reach our goals, it's easier to be together, reaching our goals together. I mean, so I hope that we connect in the future so we can share our concerns, share our success, share our failures, so we can advise each other so to be better in the future. So yeah, continue to be together.
Let's make the network strong.
Of course, let's make it strong. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to Conversations with Tenzin. And like I said, I'm doing this because I meet a lot of wonderful, wonderful human beings in my life, and I want to capture them and capture their stories. So this is the reason why I do this. So thank you so much for listening to this podcast.
Thank you. Thank you very much.